Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our services, if we can please kindly turn off all cell phones or electronic devices, or please place them on silent. Thank you.
El Harim, Esainai, El Harim, Me'ain Yavo Ezri, Me'ain Yavo Ezri, Me'ain Yavo Ezri, Me'ain Yavo Ezri, Esainai, El Harim, Esainai, El Harim, Me'ain Yavo Ezri, Me'ain Yavo Ezri. These words from Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes, and where will my help come from? In times like these, we search for help. We search for a way forward. Looking around this room, I think this community that Robin has built, I think this is the way that we will go forward. It's with this friendship, this amazing community that Robin has built. I think that is the only way that we will be able to go forward. We are here today to remember a truly remarkable woman, Robin Cohen. She is remembered as a devoted wife to David, Zichrono Livracha, for over 40 years, a sister to Ron and Susan, a mother to Adam and Allison, Amanda, and a Gigi to Ellie and Charlotte. Robin was a kind and selfless woman, and her joy was palpable. Today, we will spend some time honoring her memory. My name is Cantor Lauren Goodlev, and I grew up about 5 houses away from Adam and Amanda, and it is an honor for me to be here today with the Cohen family as we remember Robin. Please join me in this refrain of the following poem, responding, "We remember her," after each line, noting just a few of the times that we will remember Robin. At the risings of the sun and at its going down, we remember her. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember her. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember her. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember her. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember her. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember her. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember her. When we have achievements that are based on hers, we remember her. As long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. I continue now the singing of Psalm 16, which sings of that joy that Robin knew so dearly. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini balemot lachen samach libi vayagel kevodi af besari yishkon lavetach ki lo tazov nafshi lishol lo titen chasircha lirot shachat todieni orach chayim orach chayim sova semachot et panechat neimot bimin chanetzach shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini balemot. A poem by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Continue now with the words of Psalm 23. I invite you, if you have it in your handout, you can follow along. The Lord is my shepherd. Adonai roi lo echsad bino desheya bitseni Almei menuchot Almei menuchot Yenaleni Nafshi shovev Yeshovev Yancheni b'maglet tzedek. Yancheni b'maglet tzedek. Leman shemo. Gam ki elech begetz hamavet lo ira ki ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni. Taroch lefanai, lefanai, shulchan neged tzorerai, dishanta vashemen roshi. Kosi revaya. Ach tova chesed yedefuni kol yemechai, kol yemechai. Veshavti bevet Adonai leorech yamim. Adonai roi lo echsar. Adonai roi lo echsar. Those words of Psalm 23 talk about how God will be our shepherd and that we will never walk alone. So I will now share a few words about Robin, and then I'll invite up some people who knew her even better to share a little bit more, some more memories as well. Robin grew up in Overbrook Park, the daughter of Anita and Norman. Though she was Ron's little sister, she was very protective of him. And from a young age, she had this profound mix of sweetness and determination. Her family moved to Lower Merion while Robin was in high school, and despite adjustments for a shifting curriculum, Robin proved her intelligence and excelled there. She also made friends, many friends, at her new home that she would keep for the rest of her life, many of whom are here today. High school was also particularly fortuitous for Robin's love life. When she was only 15, she went to a party at the Y. She stepped outside, and there was David, throwing snowballs at a wall. Robin knew a good thing when she saw it and went over to talk to David. That moment changed everything. Soon enough, David was basically part of the family, always at Anita and Norman's house. With a bit of poetic liberty on a popular song, Robin would say, "My heart belongs to Davy." And it did. 6 years later, they got married, and the rest is history. They built a life together, raised Adam and Amanda, filled that life with adventures. Even after David passed, Robin continued to travel with Adam and Amanda, adding to the stories and laughter. The destinations may have shifted from Disney World and the Outer Banks to Italy, Greece, Mexico, and Vienna, but the intent was always the same, making memories filled with love. In 2001, when David had his accident, Robin's strength showed itself in the most powerful way. She turned her home into a hospital, educated herself, and became David's #1 advocate. She never gave up on him, never stopped caring for him. That's who she was, devoted and resilient, a partner in the truest sense. Robin went to Temple to become a speech therapist. As life shifted, she joined the family real estate business, where she took on a bit of everything, pre-qualifying applicants, helping tenants, and of course, a bit of design. And Robin had plenty of style. She loved going to the hairdresser, loved makeup, and loved plants and flowers. However, she didn't exactly inherit her mother Anita's green thumb. Like most Gigi's, Robin loved to spoil her grandchildren, Ellie and Charlotte. She adored them and sought to always fill their lives with joy. If you're picturing Robin, you're probably seeing those big, beautiful blue eyes of hers. But what really stood out was also her energy. She was animated, high-spirited, sometimes stubborn, and always full of stories. Often the same ones, yes, but told with such life that you didn't mind hearing them again. She had this joy that you could feel just by being around her. Robin had endured a lot in her life. She knew what really mattered: family, love, and connection. That's the legacy that she leaves behind. She wanted her family to stay close, to take care of each other, to remember her love. She wanted her grandchildren to really know her. And she wanted the house that she and David built together, the house that he built and she designed, to keep being a home, a place filled with the spirit of their life together. Robin's joy, her optimism, her love will never leave us. They stay with us in the stories we tell, in the way we love each other, and in the closeness we keep. Zichrona livracha, may her memory be a blessing, and may it always bring us strength, laughter, and love. So I want to invite up a few more people to share some more personal stories. I think, Adam, are you going to go first? Okay.
To paraphrase the famous words of Ben Stiller's Zoolander, I know very much what a googly is. I've unfortunately had to give more of these over the last 10 years or so than I ideally would have liked to. It's a good thing that Lauren and I are both very happily married with our children and our spouses, or my former junior prom date might be thinking I was looking for a good excuse to spend more time with her. So, I'd planned to start out with some thoughts that were a little more reflective and serious, because there's just so much sadness in my heart today, and then follow by some more humorous moments to lighten the mood, I guess, in keeping with the spirit of how our family is. after a practice run, I realized there's no way I'd be able to get through this in that order. So I'm going to start with the more lighthearted comments. And I apologize if it runs a little bit long, but when I kind of sat down to write, the words came pouring out, and I didn't want to leave anything out. So Mom and Dad, they always tried to see the humor and the light in any of the sad moments. I think they'd be disappointed in me if I didn't try to do the same. Dad had very much envisioned his funeral as a blowout bash with pina coladas and strawberry daiquiris, available with servers in Hawaiian shirts at his funeral ceremony. I'm sorry to say everybody's going to have to make do with water for now. But I wanted to share a few lighthearted stories that came out during Mom's hospital stay. Mom always had a make lemonade out of lemons attitude that really helped make the past 2 years since her diagnosis way more bearable. And I very much want to keep that vibe alive today. And for the citrus-flavored mocktail-obsessed crowd here, again, no lemonade, only water. Suck it up. Shiva will be here soon enough. For those of you who came to visit, towards the end, Mom was some days a little bit more confused. And cranberry juice was one of her bedside necessities. Although in some days, some of the juice ended up more on her than in her mouth. So it led to some heart in throat moments, because when you see somebody in a hospital bed with a red substance all over them, it does not always lead a nurse or a loved one to first think cranberry juice. But no worries, as the parents of 2 young children, our sippy cup collection is quite robust. And Allison showed up at the hospital in short order with plenty of options to choose from. Now, cranberry juice was not the only beverage that Mom had taken a liking to, and there was a quite robust selection of, I think, 6 or 7 cups by her bedside. Now, in hindsight, this might seem obvious, but apparently the sippy cup industry had not accounted for those small children who do not have the dexterity to hold their own cups, but yet have a sweet tooth for carbonated beverages. So after several drops of the sippy cup, which contained the ginger ale, on Mom's 4th attempt, a super soaker pressurized level spray burst forth out of the sippy cup, shooting her in the face, the doctor all over their scrubs, and even managed to hit the luxurious 10-foot ceilings of the beautiful Penn hospital ceiling, excuse me. The cup continued to spew forth like a volcano for what seemed like minutes until it finally exhausted itself. So important life lesson, sippy cups, great for juice, cups with lids and straws, great for soda. You're welcome. A second anecdote. My mom, the day that she finally decided that she was, ready to pass and that there really wasn't an option to move forward, she had the family and our doctor. She had the doctors and our family sit down with us to let us know that it was time. And she knew that it was Thursday. What she didn't know that it was July 31st. So for those of you not familiar with the Social Security rules, if you pass away on the last day of the month, Social Security claws back the payment that they gave you for the entire month, proration be damned. For those of you who don't remember, my dad passed away on August 31st. He was not aware of this fact at the time. And it's become a bit of a joke that Dad, historically cheap as he was, absolutely would have stuck it out for an extra 12 hours or so had he been aware. I'm also relatively confident that the day that I found this out, he was rolling around in his grave. In hindsight, it's a bit of a blessing that it happened the way that it did. The following date, September 31st, is Allison and my anniversary. and clinking celebratory champagne flutes graveside on an annual basis just seems to be a little bit wrong on some level. Perhaps it's just me. Anyways, after Mom told me that she was ready to go, I quickly informed her that today was entirely unacceptable. And she needed to be a little bit more patient, at least for Dad's sake. If you think he was upset the first time, could you imagine it happening twice? Her response was somewhere between a groan and a smile, but it still brings a smile to my lips thinking about it. Ultimately, she passed on August 13th, which for those of you keeping score is the reflective image of the 31st. A better writer than I would be able to bring that together with the symmetry of yin and yang and the symbolism of how my parents together were the mirror image of each other. But unfortunately, my dad's not around to weave that all together into a poetic masterpiece. And so I'm going to have to rely on your imaginations to do the work. To get a little more serious, Mom's passing has forced me to come to terms with a lot. Mom had a terminal cancer diagnosis that was completely out of left field and devastating for our entire family. I'm now my immediate family's oldest member. One might say head of the family, and I don't feel like that. When I think of my parents, when I think of the parents, I think of my parents. When I think of what the head of a family looks like, I picture gray hair. Yeah, I know there's a few scruffled in my scruff, but I think of AARP cards with senior discounts. I imagine the debate of when the best time is to start taking Social Security and the joy of finally making it onto Medicare and the constant complaints about bodily functions. And I don't picture me. This transition was made materially easier by Mom's attitude. After 44 plus years of being married to my father, it would have been impossible for Mom to not have tried to see the silver lining in any situation. Mom didn't know exactly how much time she had after her diagnosis, but we were optimistic that we would have a couple good years of time and for her to be able to go on living her life before the cancer would progress. I imagine most of us have no clue how we would react having to live life under an invisible hourglass, having to make the most of the time until the final grains of sands reach their destination. As most of you know, we took a number of wonderful trips in the last couple of years, memories that are going to last us a lifetime. Lola, the Everglades crocodile, will forever be an inside family joke, as will the lemur that seemed more enthusiastic to jump on Gigi's head and give her a fancy new hairdo than to eat the banana in her hand. We climbed to the top of the Acropolis, managed to leave Knossos without getting impaled by the Minotaur, and got to visit a magical town which made you appear to be walking uphill when you were actually walking down. The time we had was a blessing, and some of our best memories were created in the moments that never would have happened had it not been for her diagnosis. When I imagined someday I'd be up here giving the speech, I didn't imagine that my two elementary school children, Charlotte and Ellie, would be sitting in the audience looking up at me. My two children, who I knew had so many years left to spend with their Gigi, baking cookies, doing flower arrangements, and covering the entire surface of our downstairs with glitter during babysitting art projects gone wrong. I mean, Christ, we were only out to dinner for an hour and a half. How much mess can you make in an hour and a half? In any of the moments in the past 2 years where I started to get the least bit annoyed, I caught myself knowing any moment that my babysitting might be the last one. And before I knew it, we were driving to the hospital, and it was the last one. I'm just devastated that my children aren't going to have the opportunity to grow the relationship with my mom the way I did with Anita, my grandmother. Your grandmother is the one person you have in life that offers you unconditional love, without the accompanying, one more time. Your grandmother is the one person you have in your life that offers you unconditional love without the accompanying unrequested criticism. In no intended slight to Amanda and I'm pretty sure that Charlotte and Ellie were the two most important people in the world to my mother. From the moment she was diagnosed until her final days, her biggest fear was, are my grandchildren going to remember me? And what kind of an impact can I have on their life at so young an age? I know the answer is a very large one. And now it's our responsibility to remind them so they never forget. As I approach the conclusion, I realize I spent a lot of time talking about my mom's impact on my family and my kids, but not so much on myself. It's really hard for me to go there so soon. Mom was always the one pushing me to do more. She pushed me to get into my dream college. She networked her way into getting my foot in the door for my first job, and if I'm not mistaken, my second one as well. Like any parent, we pushed back on each other at times. Clearly, she was the stubborn one. But I never questioned whether she had my best interest at heart. There will forever be a hole in my life for the rest of my life. Towards the end, many times she told me that I had been a wonderful son, and I many times reciprocated that she had been a wonderful mother. I know what a privilege that is. Many people don't get that lucky. I'll forever mourn the loss of that, and in this moment be a little bit angry to have it taken away from me so early. I know most of you here today feel the same way. So thank you, everybody who's here, being here to honor her. I love you, Mom, and I'll miss you.
Amanda.
I can't remember a time when Mom wasn't a huge part of my life. She was always my rock, the one I could always count on no matter what. We were incredibly close. She was there for every dance recital, every school musical performance, every birthday. She would even volunteer alongside other parents to do stage makeup for the student actors during my middle school theater performances. Actually, musical theater was one of the many interests we shared. Almost every year, we would take a trip to NYC to go see a Broadway show and eat at a nice restaurant, sometimes with a little bit of shopping at Saks thrown in. We also loved our other outings and girls' trips, such as our spa days, where she'd get a facial and I'd get a massage. To her, one of the most important things was family and friends. She took on the role of hosting many an important holiday dinner, and growing up, I loved being her sous chef and helping her set up and cook the menu. Of course, as time went by, our roles switched, and she became my sous chef. She loved flowers and aspired to have as many great plants, just like my grandmother did, though sadly, she didn't inherit my grandmother's green thumb. However, that never stopped her from trying. She always wanted to make sure my brother and I got to our destination safely, even if said destination was next door. In fact, my mother is what some might call a caretaker. Anytime I was sick, she would take off work to nurse me back to health. She also cared for my father after his accident. She stepped up as his patient advocate and made sure he received the proper care from doctors, nurses, and health aides. Very few could take on a hand so unfairly dealt to them, with so much unconditional love, strength, and perseverance as she did, and I will always admire her for that. She consistently put others before herself, and she deserved all the best things in the world. She always had such a great design sense, and her beautiful decor turned the childhood house my dad built into a home. She influenced me in so many positive ways, and was a large part of making me the woman I am today. She instilled in me so many crucial values such as honesty, kindness, and showing appreciation and empathy for others. She was a remarkable person who touched so many lives, and I will miss her dearly.
Ron.
I stand before you once again, 6 months after burying my mother, saying words that I never wanted to say, giving a speech I never wanted to give, and feeling a loss I never wanted to feel. my beloved sister Robin is gone. It is both a privilege and a grave responsibility to stand before you to share some thoughts about the most incredible sister a brother could have ever hoped to have. Robin and I came from the same place, same parents, same homes, same memories, same childhood chaos. Robin was a different flower from the same garden. There's something irreplaceable about that kind of a bond. She didn't just witness my life, she helped shape it. From the silly games we made up as kids to the heartfelt conversations we had as adults, our connection was constant. Even when life pulled us in different directions, we always found our way back to each other. What I valued most was how easy it was to be myself around her. No explanations were ever needed. She got me in a way no one else did. We had a way of communicating without speaking, and now that she's gone, that absence is felt in every corner of my life. She was the kind of sibling who showed up always, not just in big moments, but in small ones too. She checked in on me constantly. She listened. She remembered the things that mattered. When I needed advice, she gave it straight. When I needed comfort, she was gentle. When I needed a laugh, she delivered. She was dependable in a way that grounded me, and I fear that I never told her that enough. She never needed the spotlight. She was always there, and that presence meant the world to me. From our childhood adventures to our late-night phone conversations as adults, she was woven into every chapter of my life. Losing her has been like losing a part of myself. Robin was not just my sister. She was my most trusted friend, my confidant, and my greatest supporter. I remember even as a kid, I used to have arguments with my mother because we were both so stubborn, and my mother's favorite punishment to try to calm me down was to suspend television privileges. And when I would be sitting there arguing with my mother, little 4-year-old Robin would get between us and go, Wani, be quiet or you will not watch television until you are 40. Even at the end, when we knew we were fighting against the odds, we all had so much hope that Robin would pull through because we simply could not envision a world without her. But in the end, the poisons kept running. Can't deny that evil tumor's cunning. And for the last few days, I find myself once again infuriated, trying to unravel the question as to how this could happen to her. It makes me want to shake my fist violently at the heavens and howl like a dog. Robin went through so much, caring as she did for David, literally turning the basement of her house into a hospital for him. She perceived, she survived and persevered, only to get knocked down like this. It is incomprehensible, cruel, and just plain awful, and I am angry. But Robin never complained. No matter how much pain and discomfort she was in, whenever I would ask her how she was doing, she would invariably proclaim, fine, but let's talk about your health situation. She never became bitter or hardened, never surrendered to pity or regret. No one would have blamed her if she had, but that was not Robin Cohen. She went through so much, she was my inspiration. With all that she endured, she was still the glue that held our family together always, taking the laboring oar in arranging high holy day dinners, Passover seders, birthdays, etc. She worried about and took my mother to doctors on a consistent basis like it was a second job. Robin was a great woman, and great women change those around them. And Robin did so from a height that most of us could never dream about reaching. And it isn't until a time like this that we realize what she taught us. For starters, she taught me about what was important in life. She had an unwavering strength and a kind heart. She faced life's challenges, of which there were many, with grace, never letting anything diminish her spirit. Her resilience taught me the importance of staying strong in the face of adversity and always looking for the silver lining. So many times we put our life on hold, fearing that the time is not right. It should make us think twice about complaining about petty things. The sooner you realize that life can change in the blink of an eye, the sooner you can learn to live and enjoy the moment and live your life with purpose and love while enjoying the journey. Robin's battle cry to me whenever I would complain was, if you can fix it with money, it's not a problem. And even in her absence, those lessons continue to guide me every day. Every time I ask myself, what would Robin say, she is still with me. Robin was a great, great woman. She never let anybody down. She was always there when you needed her. When you look up the word selfless in the dictionary, there's a picture of Robin. The number of people who loved and called Robin their best friend was legion. She steadfastly maintained ties with childhood and long-lasting friends such as Richard and Barbara, Arlene and Mark, Barbara and Hal, Lynn and Andy, Mitch and Carol, Ann and Dan, Mel and Joyce, Benita and Alex, and countless, countless others. And while it is natural for us to feel sad and aggrieved that Robin is no longer with us, it may be well for us to be happy she lived and that we are blessed to have had the privilege of sharing part of her remarkable life with us. Robin, I wish I could tell you how much I loved you and how much you meant to me, how much you still mean. Since you are gone, there is an emptiness that words struggle to fill. I will carry you with me always. I suppose that grief is the price we pay for love. We were siblings by birth, friends by choice, and are bound together in spirit forever.
Thank you, Ron. Charlotte Nelly.
Our Gigi, or as many of you here call her, Robin, was very good at doing many things, though making us eat healthy was not one of them.
We raised flowers.
We also made all sorts of strange food. Almost all of it was incredibly delicious, though some of the adoration may have been faked by a few people. But one of the things we are almost sure about is that everyone here will miss her forever, even if we aren't always thinking about her. Thank you.
Bye.
That was beautiful, guys.
So beautiful. With all of those stories, we are surrounded with memories, surrounded with love, and surrounded with compassion. And so we take a moment now to recite El Male Rachamim, God full of compassion, asking God to surround Robin with compassion, with all of these stories at this time. And so I ask you, if you are able, to please rise. El Male Rachamim, Shochen Mamromim, Hamtzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Uteorim, Kezar Rakia, Maziri, Et Nishmat בתולה וחווה של הלך לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יסיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים. ויצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה. ותנוח בשלום על משכבה. ונאמר אמן. You may be seated. So, just a few announcements before we proceed to the cemetery. We have, right after this, we'll be heading over to Locustwood Cemetery for the interment, for the burial. You're all invited to join us if you're able. If you're not able to join us for that, a few other announcements for what is happening for the next stages. After the burial, anyone is invited also to join for the first stage of Shiva, which people are invited back to Robin's home roughly from 1:30 to 4 or so, and then we'll let the family have a little bit of private time from like 4 to 7 to just be by themselves, but then people are invited to come back between 7 and 9, again for Shiva in the evening, and there will be a minyan, a service around 7:30. Robin's home is at 2 Shingle Oak Drive in Lost Tree in Voorhees, that beautiful home that Robin and David built with so much love. So that's tonight, and then tomorrow evening, the same time, sort of in that 7 to 9 o'clock time with a minyan at 7:30. And so with that, I will turn it over to the team at Platt.